He wasn't human. He was grief in the flesh. You ever walk into a place and feel it instantly? That pressure in your chest that tells you something's off? That's what the deputies felt when they crossed that threshold in Plainfield, Wisconsin, in November 1957. No screams, no fanfare, just the sharp, hollow sound of something too terrible to believe. Because when they stepped in, they saw things no one should ever see. So let me tell you how we got here. How a quiet, lonely man became a nightmare that inspired nightmares.
Do that.
Do what? Talk to a couple of girls?
Plainfield wasn't the kind of place where bad things happened. Just endless fields, snow-covered roofs, church bells on Sundays. A town where people waved, borrowed sugar, trusted each other. And in that same town lived Ed. A small man, awkward smile, shy voice. He helped on farms, fixed fences, watched kids for neighbors. Nobody feared him. Nobody looked closer. Edward Theodore Gein was born in 1906. His father, George, a drunk who found comfort in a bottle. His mother, Augusta, a devout Christian who found comfort in control. She was the kind who spoke more to God than to people. And when she did speak, she filled Ed's head with fire. About sin, lust, and how the world outside their home was rotten. She taught him that women were dangerous. That temptation led straight to hell, that she was the only good woman left on earth. He believed her completely. When his father died, Ed didn't cry. When his brother Henry died, mysteriously, in a fire, Ed said it was an accident. But some people whispered otherwise. After that, it was just Ed and Augusta, mother and son, locked away from the world. And when she died in 1945, he didn't move on. He just stopped. He sealed her room shut, every dish, every curtain untouched. He slept in the kitchen beside a rusted stove, the rest of the house frozen in time.
That's wrong! That's wrong! A stranger's that's wrong!
People said he was strange, sure, but harmless. He'd visit the hardware store, read pulp magazines, laugh awkwardly at jokes. Some neighbors invited him for dinner. He sat quietly, eyes wandering. And when they asked about his mother, he'd go silent, like her name was still sacred. But when the sun went down, Ed changed. He said it started with a dream, his mother's voice whispering through the dark, telling him to bring her back. He couldn't let go, so he didn't. He began visiting cemeteries late at night. He said he'd wake up not remembering how he got there, just his hands dirty, the earth disturbed. He looked for women who looked like her, middle-aged, strong, familiar. He called it borrowing. He'd open the graves, take what he needed, and bring them home. He told police later, "It was like I was in a trance. I couldn't stop myself. In that trance, he was no longer alone. He had company, fragments of people, stitched together by loneliness."
Ed Gein, what on earth are you japping about?
I'm not japping. And to God, I saw that picture and I thought, well, I could make something like that, so I did.
The farmhouse became something else, not a home, a museum of grief. He used what he found, made things, built things, crafted things. A lampshade of skin, a belt made of nipples, bowls carved from skulls, masks, faces peeled and preserved like photographs. And in one corner, a woman's suit, a complete outfit made of human skin, breasts, and hair. He admitted he'd wear it sometimes. Not out of madness, he said, but to feel like her, to be his mother again. He told investigators, "When I put it on, I felt close to her, like she wasn't gone. It wasn't lust. It wasn't hatred. It was mourning gone rancid. Neighbors thought the smell around the house came from bad meat. Kids joked the old Gein place was haunted. They weren't wrong, because the haunting wasn't from ghosts. It was from memory.
What should I do? Oh.
November 16th, 1957, Bernice Worden, owner of the local hardware store, didn't open up that morning. Her son Frank went to check. The The cash register was gone, the floor blood-stained, and outside, tire tracks led straight into the cold woods. He found a receipt, a sale from the night before, 4 antifreeze, the name on the slip, Ed Gein. Deputies drove out to his farmhouse. It was dark, quiet. They stepped in, flashlights trembling. What they found was not human. Bernice's body hung upside down in the barn, gutted like a deer. Inside the house, skulls, masks, organs in jars, a human heart on a plate, and in one room, a face on the wall. The sheriff who found it would later say, "You don't recover from something like that. You just learn to keep breathing." That night, Plainfield stopped being a town. It became a legend.
Oh, I sure could use a sliced apple pie. Let's sit down and we can talk about it.
They brought Ed in. He didn't resist, didn't cry, didn't even look confused. He said, "I didn't mean to kill her." The gun went off. Then he smiled. "I just wanted to keep her." He confessed to grave robbing, at least 9 graves, maybe more. He told them he sometimes brought home whole bodies, sometimes just pieces that looked nice. He described it all in a calm, flat tone, like someone talking about fixing a tractor. He said his mother's voice guided him, that she told him what to do, that she needed new parts. When they asked if he knew what he'd done was wrong, he said, "I guess so, but I couldn't help it. She was lonely, and so was I." That's when they realized this wasn't just insanity. It was grief that had metastasized into something unspeakable.
Now, Sheriff, listen now. Do you think it would be possible to get some chewing gum?
The trial took place in 1968, over a decade after his arrest. It took that long to decide whether Ed was fit to stand trial. He sat there, hands folded, polite, even helpful. He answered questions softly. He didn't deny anything. He just didn't seem to feel it. Psychiatrists diagnosed him with schizophrenia, necrophilia, and psychosis. But beneath all that, a broken child who never stopped missing his mother. The court found him guilty, but not responsible. He was sent to Central State Hospital for the criminally insane, later to Mendota State Hospital, where he'd stay until his death. The doctors said he was quiet. He read magazines, he watched TV, he talked about the weather. No one could reconcile the man with the monster. But maybe that's the real horror, that they were the same person. He died in 1984, lung cancer, peacefully. They buried him next to his mother in Plainfield Cemetery. His gravestone became a tourist attraction until people started chipping pieces off. Eventually it vanished, but his legacy didn't. He became something else, a blueprint for fear. Norman Bates in Psycho, Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. Every fictional killer who wears a mask of flesh, they're echoes of him. But the truth, none of them come close, because Ed wasn't a cinematic monster. He was a man eaten alive by grief, a man who couldn't separate love from possession, faith from delusion, loneliness from death. He didn't start out evil, he started out alone, and maybe that's what makes him so terrifying. How human he still was beneath it all. Think about it. A man who smiled at children, who helped neighbors fix roofs, who waved at people passing by, while a corpse sat at home, waiting for him.
I mean, I do everything you ask of me, right?
They say Plainfield never recovered. Some people still refuse to drive past that land. Others swear the air feels heavier there, like it remembers. And maybe it does, because what Ed Gein did wasn't just physical. It left a scar on human imagination itself. He showed us that monsters don't live under beds. They mow lawns, they smile, they look normal. That's the real fear, that someone so ordinary could be capable of something so empty. So, the next time you hear a story about a monster, ask yourself, what if it's not evil that creates them? What if it's loneliness? And what if the scariest thing about Ed Gein isn't what he did to others, but what he did to himself? Want to see how deep the darkness really goes? Then subscribe, because the next story might be even worse. Hit the bell so you don't miss the moment everything goes wrong. You think it's over? think again.